With us now, Pro Bowl running back Deangelo Williams, who last year ended up tying the league lead with 11 TDs. Not too shabby, stepping in nicely. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
First of all, congrats on the wedding. You just got married.
Yes.
It looked like you had a pretty good time. Please tell us about this Walking Dead theme.
Well, I've said all along, weddings are for women.
Okay,
us
that's
men,
fair.
we just kind of tag along. We say our dues. The only thing that hit us hard is in our pockets when we have to pay for it.
Yeah, okay.
And I said, you know what, I'm gonna be different. I want to have an opportunity to have fun during my wedding, and that was my opportunity to have fun because I always wanted to be a walker. I'm a huge Night of the Living Dead fan, huge walker, and I love horror movies,
yep.
And because of that, that's why I was able to do what I was able to do.
So nothing to do with the marriage zombies coming to get you? The single Deangelo Williams, being killed by the marriage zombies? No symbolism there?
No symbolism at all. But I mean, I guess you can say that because I mean, once we do get married, we're like zombies.
I am not equipped to have a conversation about this.
I'm sorry, I don't feel like a zombie.
I'm not touching that at all.
Yes,
let's go to football. I mean, we look at the Steelers right now. There's a lot of expectations, but obviously you got Le'Veon Bell. He's expected to be out for the first 4 games. You got Martavis Bryant. He's suspended for the season. We all know why. That puts a lot of pressure on you. You carried the ball 200 times last year. Everybody thinks you can handle it. Nevertheless, people still are looking at the Steelers and thinking Super Bowl. Talk to me about that.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to think, though. All 32 teams are thinking Super Bowl, but the reality is...
I don't think all 32.
Which ones you think?
Please, you want me to get started?
I'm not even going to start that. I told you. I know we pressed for time. I know we pressed for time. That's everybody's goal. Right. Now, whether they put the work in to be that 2 teams that play in the Super Bowl, now that's completely different. We put that work in here to get to the Super Bowl and to win it. You know, we don't just want to get there and then falter once we get there. We want to get there and win it. There's no jab at any team because I know how people try to go through and they try to, thread out stuff that I say.
Right.
But there's always pressure on me, and that's the pressure that Coach told me there's only 2 types of pressures: pressure that's applied and pressure that you feel. And I want to be the one that apply that pressure, and I apply it to myself all the time. I always get ready for a 16-game season, whether I play in it or not. So I'm ready to go, and then once we make that playoff push and that Super Bowl run, I'll definitely be ready. So there's no pressure on me at all. I mean, a lot of people tease me and say I'm a backup, man, but what they don't understand is it doesn't pay like a backup.
A backup.
32-year-old running backs.
33.
No, I'm saying last year.
Yeah.
32-year-old running backs who carry the ball as much as you did don't generally perform the way you did last year. 33-year-old running backs almost not. How have you been able to preserve yourself to perform at this level at this stage in your career?
It's not about preserving yourself. I had this conversation countless times. It's not that. It's just that the coaches don't give you those opportunities anymore. You look up all the 32-year-old running backs that have played at my age and see if they got the same opportunities that I got. All you have to do is have a coach that believes that you can carry the load, and you'll make it happen. And I don't think any of the coaches that are 30-plus years old that had a running back to do it believed in that guy once he hit 30.
Here's why I disagree with you. I disagree with you because I think you're selling yourself short. Let me explain.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is there ain't too many 25-year-olds that can do what you do. So you can't just sit up there and say, oh, there's a lot of 33-year-olds out there that can run the football and do what I do. They just haven't been given the opportunity. Maybe they weren't given the opportunity because they ain't good enough. Is that possible?
That's possible.
And how much is the offensive line? I mean, obviously, Le'Veon Bell, I think, when he's on the field, is the best back in the game.
Absolutely.
You had a tremendous season last year, but you can't help but notice that even from the preseason, you're like, boy, that Pittsburgh offensive line is going to be a monster.
We call them the Goon Squad. They've always been monsters. In years past, we've thrown the ball a lot. Now, since Le'Veon's here, everybody's taking notice to the run game, and they forget about our offensive line. They talk about his patience, but in order for him to have that patience, you got to have an offensive line that's able to hold those blocks and sustain them for a long period of time, and they do that here.
Is there something about having a head coach, too? I remember Tomlin's first introductory press conference when, he's there going, I'm like, who's this dude? Steelers football. Run the ball, stop the run. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm rolling with this guy. Is there something, imagine, especially for a running back, playing for a guy where in his heart of hearts, he likes that kind of grinded out type of game, right?
Well, it's not just that, though. You also have to understand, not only do we have a great offensive line, and I'm saying great, a lot of people put the Cowboys offensive line up there, and they kind of look at the Steelers offensive line and don't put us even in the top 5, but we'll change that this year. Yep. But you look at it I look at it from a standpoint of this. No matter how good your offensive line is and no matter how good your running back is, it all boils down to your quarterback. It all boils down to your quarterback. And having the quarterback that we have in Ben Roethlisberger, he takes a lot of pressure off us, because if you put 8 in the box or 9 in the box, he will torch you and his change of play calling.
I got to chime in here because I got to get this in. I asked Antonio Brown the same question. You're a loquacious individual. You talk, you speak your mind, etc. I want to know what, if anything, did you say to Le'Veon? Did you say to Martavis? I want to know what kind of conversations you guys have amongst yourselves in terms of staying straight and narrow and doing what we got to do to get this done, and not putting yourself in these positions.
Well, we've had those conversations. The unfortunate part about those conversations is that you don't think you have to have those conversations. So when you have those conversations, it's too late. You know, it's already that they're either off the beaten path or they've already got into some trouble, and that has nothing to do with Le'Veon or Martavis Bryant that I'm speaking about. I'm just talking about in general. But the conversations that we've had, like, because I don't know what's going on, and I hadn't asked L. Bell, like, hey, what's going on? And the reason why I haven't asked him is because when I sit up here and I talk, I get to talk like everybody else and generalize, like, and say, hey, you know, but I don't know what's going on, though. You don't know what's going on. We know the appeal process is going forward. He stepped up. He said what he's had to say. Yeah. But we all put him in a box. And not when I say all, I'm not talking about myself, people outside of him, and say, hey, he can't stay off the weed. But, in fact, we don't know what actually happened. We don't know if there was a mix-up in locations on where he was. It ultimately comes back to him making sure that he have his priorities straight, or he have his all ducks in a row.
And that's why I asked you, what do you say as a team? Not even to those specific individuals,
right,
but just coming together and making sure you fly in the straight and narrow, because we got a big goal here. What do you say to them,
Well, we did say this, like, the Pittsburgh Steelers, our offensive side and our defensive side, we're the only ones that can beat ourselves. We're the only one that can beat ourselves. And we're not talking about in the game. We're talking about off the field.
Right.
Because our off-the-field issues are obviously public. So, and that's what we're having to deal with.
Gotcha.
Deangelo, thank you so much. We always enjoy having you. Good luck this season. And I love what you said about the wedding. That's fun.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
It was about time we had fun, right?
Right?
You don't look like a zombie. You don't look like a zombie.
I mean, that's because I'm on set right now. I'm in front of millions of
But he
people.
can transform.
Somehow,
we saw
some way, I don't believe that you would have gotten married if you felt like a zombie.
Exactly.
I don't believe that.
You know, we
You better
always
clean it up. You got to go home.
Clean it up.
I know.
Clean it up.
Well, we all had those head-down cases where you just walk in the room and you... So are we zombies or are we not?
Happy life, happy life. We all know that. Up next, Deangelo Williams head coach Mike Tomlin joining us here from Latrobe at Steelers Camp. More First Take after the break with Mike Tomlin.
That's what